goal is enough for me, but enough of we're here. Both these teams are ready to go. Freedom in the yellow with a decaf heavy, kind of expected. For the other side, Luna Blaster from Krill Switch, very interesting. Not one you see very often, but the matchup I'm interested in is the decaf v decaf, because whichever one can get set up and get their bubble in the enemy court will kind of help their team out really well.
Yeah, I completely agree, but I'm really excited about this Luna Blaster as well. I used to be a Luna one trick before Info forced me to play a different weapon, so I'm curious to see, kind of living through this person vicariously, seeing if they're able to get a couple kills here and make a big impact as well. But you see right now that Krill Switch gets the first zone cap, and that Luna Blaster trying to put pressure alongside the decaf. They split. The decaf, unfortunately, is not able to find one. Are they going to find the crab tank? I don't think they will, but the stamp comes in quickly onto zone. Is that going to be a zone cap? I think that will. Will they find one more? I don't think so. No, and they're going to cap the zone here real quick.
Yeah, they're going to cap the zone. I'm looking more to see where does Luna and Splash go. Wherever they go kind of dictates the pace of the match, and having Meat Boy up here is kind of really good because you now kind of force Brock to drop into a really bad spot alongside popping an early bubble to kind of make sure that they use in the bad spot. Otso going in, trying to go for a pick. Brock able to get that 3 members down on the side of Krill Switch. So Freedom kind of doing what they can here to see how far they can go. They have the crab at the ready in the back lines. They're going to have the decaf in there as well. So this would be a very, very good position for them. And if you're looking at Krill Switch, that crab, that bubble to be very, very helpful. That hammer as well, which is not going to be there, would have been very helpful, but it's not going to be, as Freedom just going to hold on as Krill Switch is doing as much as possible to kind of touch that zone. But so far, like I can talk about these bridges that Nova's taking, very strong position that is forcing Krill Switch to kind of pop specials really preemptively and allowing their team to just, even though they lost zone, they still have a lot of control of the bridges, so they can just pan over it really easily.
Yeah, bridge control seems to be a big factor here. I want to see that Luna Blaster Meat Boy use that big, thick hitbox of his to try to get more impact on the game, as we see a quick trade of the decaf here for the bucket. Here, obviously, the other decaf and Pastry trying to find a way in to maybe have some impact, playing around the blocks, playing very carefully. Elects to jump out, and they forfeit a lot of space for Krill Switch. We'll see if they're able to capitalize, get one kill on the right bridge. They get a second one on the zone. All of a sudden, they're capping the zone. The Tri-Slosher backs off quickly. They're going to go to the right. They're going to keep trying to keep the bridge control on the right. Are they able to counterattack quickly? They do have the resources there, but quickly shut down by the hammer. And just like that, we think that they're going to come back quickly, but not so much. They're going to get the zone here at some point, they do. And now on the back foot is Freedom.
I mean, yeah, but how far on the back foot are they? They have the bubble, they have the decaf, but they're gonna go down. So now, look, just like that, Krill Switch able to kind of flip the zone, kind of in their favor, but not for long, because there's a crab on those bridges like we were talking about earlier. Keeping control of bridges is what you want to do. Crab v crab. Looks like Krill Switch is going to be the victors of that. They do have a cooler on the side of Freedom, so they can try to be more aggressive. Hammer from Meat Boy, able to get one going down in a trade. But now, so far, it looks like Brock is trying to do as much as possible to paint over this zone, but Krill Switch just painting over, making sure that they do not lose zone kind of uncontestedly. You see Brock is still alive, still painting, but not enough. Krill Switch with that really far bubble is gonna try, but no. Pastry with a double kill in the bubble alongside a flank from, I believe, the Julies gets basically a delayed wipeout on the side of Krill Switch. So now very dangerous spot for Krill Switch, because now you have to kind of do that whole thing all over again. You have no decaf, you just have a crab and a hammer. But I think Freedom, they've seen it before, they can kind of react to that in a certain way, but unfortunately it looks like they won't be able to, as the hammer is going to come out, not get a pick, but do a lot of damage. Crab as well, just backing people off of the zone, and it's going to work out because you see Krill Switch in the zone, but just not able to hold it for very long as they keep going down, either 1 or 2 down, and that allows Freedom to recapture the zone like it's nothing.
Yeah, they are able to recapture zone, but 2 down very quickly on the side of Freedom. They are going to have a chance here to take some space and potentially put Freedom on the back foot. They have the zone, but not taking the space right now. The crab is electing to stay in mid to prevent that from happening, but Meat Boy with that big hitbox trying to get in there, but is not able to, ends up getting traded out. And all of a sudden, the flank is on for Freedom. Are they able to get one? I don't know. The fight is still going on right now. They are able to clear out the front of the zone, though, Freedom. And when it looked like Krill Switch had a little bit of control of the zone, all of a sudden they don't have it, but the flank of the hammer from Meat Boy comes out of nowhere, it seems. They're trying to flank around. There's the Fizzy Bomb trying to flank out the last player in the back line. They have to cap zone here in order to win the game. 4 up on the side of Krill Switch, and they are fiercely painting the zone. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Are they going to keep it capped?
Ooh,
they will in a wipeout fashion. The first game going to Krill Switch, a back and forth affair. Wow. That was pretty entertaining.
I mean, yeah, it really was. I think what it came down to was the flanks from Meat Boy really did a whole lot of damage. I think what Krill Switch did very well was they kept distractions. They kept the splash and the decav kind of away from Meat Boy to let them kind of do its thing. See, in the final fight here, Meat Boy went for a flank, just keeping Red Eye and Jazz kind of painting the zone, and it just worked out well enough. Kept up the distraction, allowed the rest of the team to just build specials, keep the zone, and keep it in their favor. So honestly, I think that worked out pretty well. And I think for Freedom, biggest thing, watch your flanks as we go to game number 2, which is still on a mystery stage that we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. I think it's Urchin Underpass. I'm hearing from the voices in my head. They've never failed me before, topic. I think I'm hearing it correctly. It is Urchin Underpass zones.
You might be wrong.
I might be wrong?
You might be wrong.
I've never been wrong. I've never been more wrong once in my life.
You've been wrong a lot.
When?
A lot.
Man, don't listen to Topic. They're just lying to you. I got the right voices in my head, all right? I'm just saying, just because he doesn't have the voices going for him, it doesn't mean that I'm any less wrong. But we do have Urchin Zones coming up next. So it's a map that I'm not really the biggest fan of, but certainly provides a lot of action in that sort of like deep recessed zone in the middle.
Yeah, I personally am a fan of it because I'm a bucket player, and buckets are really strong on this map.
Yeah, you would play bucket. You would.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Anyways, yes, it is.
Okay. I'll let you finish. But yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. No, I got it. Okay. So, Bucket's very good. Dynamo is really strong on this map. Expo is really strong on this map. Heck, Luna is very strong on this map. Just anything that could take advantage of these ledges, especially around like the pillow in front of the zones, are very good. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see like not a lot of changes. The only thing we might see is potentially the decav change, only because decav does kind of struggle on the ledges or around these curves, so that might be the only switch. But I think for both teams are comfortable with it, so I don't see why they would switch. But that's just me though.
Might be a Splatoon wiper or the Stamper, you think maybe?
More likely a wiper. Because I think wiper, it is faster than the other two, so it does kind of negate the downsides of this, of like the weapon classes disadvantages on this map. So I think in my mind, if they do switch, they probably go to a wiper.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get that. I probably would also switch if I was in that case, but I don't know how to play any wipers or decavs or anything. It's too hard for me. It's too much thought process. You would know a lot about that, though. You play buckets, so I mean, I guess,
I mean, it's more thinking than a shooter.
I don't play shooters, so,
Or a blaster.
I don't play blasters.
What do you play then?
I play tens. I'm a 10-1 trick. I played tens against... Oh, wait, no, I played dowsers against you. I played dowsers.
Yeah, exactly.
I played tens.
Yeah.
You're saying dowsers requires no skill?
Yeah.
Guys, this is like lying. You're just lying at this point.
I'm not lying, though.
Yes, you are. You are lying.
I'm not. How am I lying?
No way. How is bucket a harder weapon than dowsers?
You gotta do geometry. But speaking of geometry, we are here with Urchin Underpass, game number 2. Let's see if anything changes. Looks like no changes for the side of Freedom. For the side of Krill Switch, like I was talking about, bringing out that Dynamo Meat Boy, switching over to actually a whole new comp. Not makes sense. Very mobile. Blaster makes sense. You can shoot around the elevation change really well. They just make sense. Dynamo, like we talked about earlier, just very good at covering the zone, and with Cooler as well, this kind of keeps up that tempo. And so far with Meat Boy and Jazz on the blaster, or Oh, I forgot I was on the blaster. On the blaster, they just do a whole lot of damage, and so far it's working out as they're able to recapture the zone and push up really far into the base of Freedom.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's a little bit disconnected going up front. They're able to, the Meat Boy's not going to be able to get a lot of value here. It's curious to see if Freedom's able to capitalize off that, but that splashdown seems to come in a little bit too late, and all of a sudden they're down 2. Now they're kind of backing off, kind of poking and prodding, waiting for their time. It seems that Krill Switch is firmly in the driver's seat right now, very comfortable in the position they're in right now. Meat Boy going freaking crazy on the sploosh right now. That thing needs to be nerfed, by the way. I could not kill that fast. I'm sorry. But anyways, we're going back to the zone here again, kind of waiting for Freedom to go in and make a move. But, I mean, honestly, they don't really need to take their time here. They're doing well fending off the attacks. I mean, the jet is coming in from far away. They're able to kind of wait it out now and sort of let them have zone, but they're not going to get a large push off of it. I think they do get the trade on zone, but they're able to retain a lot of the space that they had initially. But Meat Boy going down there is huge, and also the decaf also going down. The Dynamo also going down creates a huge gap in their plans, and all of a sudden, Freedom might have a chance to go back in this game.
I mean, yeah, getting Red Eye down there is huge because Dynamo can kind of cover most of the zone by itself from that little ledge. So I think getting them down is very important. You see Krill Switch trying to clear out this little jungle gym area, making sure that they get Freedom out. You see Decap going down 1-for-1 trade on either side. As you see Krill Switch slowly making their way forward, but this Jet has something to say about it with a nice kill by Nova, looking for even more, but just doing enough to keep Krill Switch at bay because they saw that if Krill Switch gets in, especially with the blaster, especially with the sploosh, then it's basically not over, but it is very, very close to being over. And you see right here, Krill Switch is able to at least recapture the zone, but get any further, I think Freedom has learned, and they're not gonna let that happen.
Yeah, Freedom is sort of realizing that they're giving a lot, the Krill Switch is giving a lot of space here, and they're kind of eating it up now. They're playing together, and they're occupying the space pretty efficiently here. I'm curious to see if Krill Switch is realizing this, and they're probably maybe playing a little bit more aggressive when they hold the zone, but they need to first worry about getting back to the zone, as the left side is completely shut out. The blaster is currently respawning now, trying to get back with their team. They're looking for a way to grind a special out potentially, or maybe find some space that Freedom is leaving, and they are able to find it near their ramps, but the dualies come in quickly. Gray gets one, and I think they get a second, and all of a sudden that play on ramps is no longer there. 27 seconds left on the timer for Freedom, and all of a sudden it's a race against the clock for Krill Switch to get back onto the zone. Meat Boy's finding one, but they need to clamp zone quickly. Are they able to? The flank from Jazz just gets there in time, and Meat Boy and Jazz quickly pick up the zone and potentially get this exit kill. They aren't able to, but are occupying more of the zone like I said they probably would.
I mean, yeah, they're doing just that. I think the best play they can do is try to not play too passive. I think what happened last time is they played a bit too passive, and it kind of allowed Freedom to build the specials here. But you see Otso getting a nice double kill, a kill on the Inkjet. Very, very good, being a thorn in the side of Freedom. And now Krill Switch not that far from catching the zone. 2 members going to go down. The splashdown's going to be wasted here. It's just Brock close to the zone. They're going to go as well. That's going to be a lead. And that will do it with the kill onto Nova. It looks like Pastry cannot get there in time, and Krill Switch kind of, you know, they did get punched in the mouth a little bit earlier, but they did a very great job of responding. They got a couple kills. They didn't play as passively as they did when they first held the zone for that long. So once they played a bit more aggressively with Meat Boy, with Asuto, they just kind of not ran the game, but they did really well, basically.